So we end up with a basket in the backyard. It was probably 8 feet high or something. We were dribbling on ground, which that's the reason I'm not a good dribbler today. But that's when I was exposed to it. I would have been in the 4th grade. When I got to the 6th grade, I played on the North Grammar team. I have a body that's sort of suited to basketball. I have extremely long arms and long legs. I could run pretty well and I could jump really well. And I was one of the bigger kids in the class. So play basketball, I'm under the basket, I can get a lot of rebounds. So I was sort of successful.
He is Hank Brown, or Henry B. Brown, and he was more than just sort of successful, both on the basketball court and in life. Hank Brown was born in Maine, but the Brown family would move to Chelmsford, and after a brief stop at the University of New Hampshire, Hank would enroll at Lowell Tech. He majored in mechanical engineering, and he played basketball. And oh yeah, he could play. His name is still in the UMass Lowell basketball record book, more than 1,200 points in 2.5 years. His 48 points in a single game is still a school record, so too his 37 rebounds in a single contest. And you put a basketball in Hank Brown's hands, and you look at those eyes, the intensity remains.
You know, by the time I got to Lowell, basketball was my sport. I really enjoyed it. Lowell's program wasn't great. We did get a little better for a while. And they've obviously had some really successful teams since I left.
Hank Brown downplays his contributions, playing games on the 4th floor of Southwick. And his senior year at the brand new Costello Gymnasium, Hank Brown was outstanding. He is a member of the Athletic Hall of Fame. But when he talks about his playing days, it's not about great moments and big shots. It's anecdotal, like this, in a game against Merrimack.
Steve Hood drove to the basket and got it up on the backboard, and he just got hammered. So the referee looks and he blows his whistle and he turns around and he calls the foul. Now while he's turned around, the ball kind of hits the front of the rim. So I'm running down, so I grabbed it and stuffed it in. And the crowd went crazy. And the referee turns around and he asks me, "Did the ball go in?" And I said, "Yeah." So he said, "Good hoop." That stuck with me all these years. I feel a little dishonest. But he only asked me if the ball went in.
After graduation from Lowell Tech, Brown did continue his basketball career, playing on weekends in the Eastern League. But he was also working as an engineer at Pratt & Whitney. They had won a bidding war for his services, and a career choice had been made.
The neat thing is I did have an offer from the Celtics. It was for $7,500, the minimum. You know, the slugs get the minimum. And Pratt & Whitney paid me $8,400. So I like to tell people, Pratt & Whitney outbid the Celtics for me.
So Hank Brown signed on at Pratt & Whitney. He was a mechanical engineer working on the designs for jet engines.
You know, it's one of those things. You're working and all of a sudden you don't think that you're an egghead or, you know, really bright or anything. You know you can design a part or a system and you get into it and things occur to you. You know, the creativity comes out. Whether you think you're creative or not, all of a sudden you say, "Oh, I could do this," and save weight, save pressure, you know, whatever it is. And that's how I got into it. I was just doing a job and things popped up that came into my head. Oh boy.
Ideas may have just popped into his mind. Well, they were pretty good ideas when you get down to it. There are a couple of patents that bear the name of Hank Brown.
I will tell you, it has a way of leveling you though. I have 2 patents. The company owns them, obviously, but they give you $500 if you got a patent. So the first one I got, they have a little ceremony, and some executive gets up and he gives you a plaque, and there's a bunch of guys. So I'm sitting there, and he gets up. There was actually 2 of us on the patent, and he said, "This patent is to these 2 guys," and he reads it off, and we walk up, and he says to me, "They gave you a patent for this?" So you go from, you know, wow, this is really great, to, oh, geez.
It was putting that engineering to work, the hands-on stuff, that brought out the passion in Hank Brown. He had various opportunities at Pratt & Whitney, spent a brief period of time in human resources, but then returned to engineering, and that was good, he says. And with all of it, Hank Brown points back to UMass Lowell, or Lowell Tech as it was at the time. That's where it all began.
I got into mechanical engineering there. I found a discipline that I liked, which carried over to jobs that I liked. So yeah, I guess early on, without me thinking of it, because I didn't put a lot of time and effort into studying or anything, it set me in a path that fit me and that I was comfortable with.
Hank Brown looks at the UMass Lowell of today and sees the changes that we all see, the bricks, the mortar. But he also sees a difference in the graduates stepping into today's world.
Now I think if you look at a UMass Lowell graduate, they have that broader sense, if you will. They're extremely well-grounded technically, but they have the broader sense, more, how's the business run? How do people interact? How can I get my job done better rather than I'm going to sit at a desk and make perfect numbers? Probably overstating, but that's kind of where we've come, and it's exciting.
Hank Brown is retired now, very active in many ways, but retired. He lives with his wife by a lake in New Hampshire, and he is enjoying life, make no mistake about that.
My neighbors aren't here much. It's like living in the woods. I wouldn't call myself reclusive. I like people. I do not like crowds. I'm not the kind of guy that'll go to a small gathering and introduce myself. I'll talk to anybody, but I may not be the one that initiates it. I'm much better than I used to be. So now I'm in a neighborhood, but it's very private. I don't see a lot of people. I am the treasurer of the Homeowners Association, so I know a lot of people, but they're not coming down my driveway. They send me emails, maybe I build boat racks and things. Again, kind of me doing something by myself, more or less. Reclusive is the wrong word, but I like the peace and the people not running around. This lot gives me that, even though it's in the middle of town.
Hank Brown always wanted to live on a lake. It was a dream of his, but it was his wife, Cynthia, that, shall we say, engineered it.
Oh, she's a good planner. She executes well. I'm the kind of guy that, like, I'll say, boy, I'd like to live on a lake someday. And it'd be always in my mind. I'd always think about it sometimes, I ought to look at a lot or something, but it would always be, well, pull the trigger later. Well, once she gets a goal in her mind, when it's the right time, like this lot, it's going to happen. I don't honestly think that she grew up thinking she'd like to be on a lake. She was a beach girl. But lake was my dream, and all of a sudden, she's making me believe it's her dream. And she's responsible for the drive, the energy that was focused just on getting this house built and getting us here. I mean, yeah, I participated, I was excited, but when it came time to make sure all the little things were done, like all the details of the house plan, I was always the guy saying, oh, that's a good idea. And she was the one saying, right, we should do this. So execution, getting the right things done, not procrastinating, that's her strength and not mine. Here goes nothing. Oh, 1 for 1, I'll quit.